Hey guys, how's it going? Kriparian here. Today I want to do a video on Magic the Gathering, and I want to talk about basically my history in the game and more so my recent experiences in the new MTG Arena game that I played. It's not a sponsored video. I did not play. Haven't been sponsored by them in any way, but I played a full day the other day when it was first playable on stream. So the NDA was lifted. The game is still in closed beta. I want to focus mostly on the game itself and their goals with this game rather than reviewing the game point by point, because it's closed beta. The game is obviously going to be adding a lot more features, a lot more optimizations, but at the same time, you can kind of see the direction that they're taking. They're trying to compete with the other digital card games. That's evident. So that aspect I have a lot of experience on, and I think you guys would enjoy hearing my history in the game. So I'm not as young as some of you might think. I'm pushing 30 here. I have played a lot of these old card games. I picked up Magic the Gathering when Weatherlight was released in 1997. And at that time, you could still buy like 4th edition packs from the store. They were a little bit older, but they still had some of these, right? Now, I didn't even know how to play the game back then, but you know, the cards looked really cool and I just wanted to collect them at the start. I just was trying to find cards with higher numbers on them. Previous to that, I think I played Overpower and stuff. So yeah, higher numbers equals good. It probably took like a year or two of collecting just the odd cards, buying a pack here and there. It didn't have that much money, just to kind of figure out how the game works. And I started playing with a few friends from school, and I did that throughout middle school, and I started to go to card shops and play there. First, you know, you start playing with decks constructed from cards you just happen to have, and in the end, I discovered Friday Night Magic, and that was generally the highlight for quite a while in my life. Friday Night Magic is basically you go to your magic shop and you play a draft. You pay an entry fee, which is usually the cost of 3 packs at whatever store might have, plus like another $5 or so. That includes the prize pool, basically. And you play. They typically have you sit down at a table and draft with people, which means you open a pack, you pick a card, you give it to the person to your right, and then once all the cards have cycled out, once the cards have all been claimed, you open another pack and do the same in the opposite order. And it's a lot of fun. It's a very creative way to play Magic, and I loved it, and I won a lot, and it certainly helped my collection growth. That I was winning quite a bit, doing well, and honestly, more than anything, having a lot of fun. Now, I got into online Magic as well. I don't remember when I first started Magic Online, but my experience wasn't great. I played for a while, I kind of just uninstalled, whatever. I remember a few years later, there was a pretty big set launch. I think it was the base set 8, I believe, maybe 9, I don't know. It was a pretty big set launch. There were a few additions to the base set that were pretty significant, and there was an advertising push for Magic the Gathering Online. So I tried it again, and I played my first game. You start with like a starter deck, and the game took like 40 minutes. In Magic the Gathering, the game has had a very difficult time being adapted in the digital space because of the fact that not just some of the game, like a very large part of the game, is played on your opponent's turn. So you can play cards on your opponent's turn. You can use abilities on your opponent's turn. Every time a player plays something or attacks or blocks or just triggers anything, anytime anything happens, your opponent has an opportunity to respond to it. So let's say I want to play this creature card. My opponent can use a counter a creature card, so the card would just not be played. And then in response to him playing the counter a creature card, I can play a counter a spell card. So I can counter the card that countered my card. And that can go back and forth a few times, actually. They call that the stack, and the stack can be pretty plentiful in some cases. So there is a lot of time that needs to be spent for every action, because every action can have a reaction, and so on and so on and so on. So basically, my experience going back to Magic Online after a few years of not playing it many years ago, might be different these days, was my opponent used his maximum allowed time on every single action, every single reaction, and I had a game that wasn't even epic. It was probably not a very long game. It's not supposed to be a very long game, but because of that, it took 40 minutes, and I just decided I don't want to play that anymore. I was done. That's it. I played Magic online, but not on the official client. I played on, I believe it was Cockatrice, and there were several different versions of that were more optimized for Magic, and that actually felt really good. The other, like the third-party Magic the Gathering online apps, felt like real-life Magic because there was a certain level of trust. So there weren't stages. So if you played a card, your opponent might just have to type something. It's like, wait, I would like to respond to that, and then they play a card. This kind of feeling of trust actually felt a lot like I was actually playing Magic in person, and I really liked that. I played on these, and I played up until the Ravnica block. I know there's like another Ravnica block. I'm talking about the original Ravnica block. My claim to fame was a Battle of Wits deck that I made from scratch, and I was so happy because on these third-party Magic the Gathering online apps, like almost everyone would just net deck the tournament-winning decks. And my Battle of Wits deck like destroyed all of them, like just annihilated it. I'm talking like 100% win rate. Like it would win every time. And I was so proud of this, I decided to make the deck in real life. And it basically showed me a reality of Magic that I didn't really want to keep up with anymore, which was I spent like a couple $100 building the deck in real life, from opening packs, trying to trade for those that I didn't have, and still not having all the cards I needed. I had to order some online, I had to wait for those to be shipped, and then I had to find special occasions where my friends in real life, and I had quite a lot of friends that played Magic, were actually willing to play a game of Type 2, and yeah, actually like play several times. In the end, I ended up spending a lot of time building this deck, and I ended up playing it like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times before the set rotated, and it was just a brand new set. And I basically decided it just wasn't worth my time. You know, I was still in school, I was still pushing the video games, and I basically decided I'd rather spend my time doing that stuff, even though I collected at this point, I don't know, tens of thousands of Magic cards, and I had a lot of cool stuff. So all of that I kind of put aside, and that was probably around 10 years ago or so. I don't know when Ravnica block was released. But I've peeked at Magic from time to time. I still have some friends that kind of give me a heads up on what's good. I don't remember what block it was, but a few years later they invited me to like launch an opening event or something like that, and we played a draft in there, and I did pretty well. It was pretty fun. So I've dabbled in Magic since then, but I would say very little. So come to today, we have a brand new Magic the Gathering client. It's called MTG Arena, and I played MTG Arena so far for about 15 hours, and it is very good. Now, what they're trying to do is compete with all the other digital card games out there, and it's pretty evident, in my opinion, specifically because of the pack structure. So the pack structure, instead of the normal 15 cards, is a 5-card pack structure, and you can't disenchant and craft cards, but you can get things that are called wild cards. And wild cards are basically cards that are blank. So instead of getting like a rare, you would get like a token of a rare card, and you could basically convert that into any rare card that you want. So it's pretty good, actually. It's pretty good online system, in my opinion, and the gameplay is fairly well optimized. It doesn't feel like 100% like in-person Magic, which actually does feel very good. If you don't know about Magic the Gathering, I would say it is without question, without any... It's not even close to any other game. It's by far the best in-person card game. No, there's just no debating it, right? It's just the best, the biggest. There's so much behind it. There's so much rich history behind it, you know, all that. So the fact that it doesn't compare equally to that is fine. Okay, let's get real. I found the client to be a lot smoother than my last experiences with Magic the Gathering Online, the previous online client, largely because there were a lot of optimizations with mana, with the different phases that take place, and just in general with the action-reaction. They have like a full control mode in the game, but you typically don't play with that on, so typically the games are a lot faster and a lot smoother than the previous online Magic the Gathering iterations. And that's great. A lot of people are pretty hyped about the release for MTG Arena, but in my opinion, they need to push the game modes quite a bit to really generate a lot of hype. Because right now, I feel like MTG Arena emulates the Magic the Gathering playing experience very well, but it's not new. It's just Magic. Magic is good, but I played Magic for more than a decade, as probably a lot of people have. So I don't feel like super motivated to constantly play it. Right now you can only play like deck versus deck, and it's a pretty limited card pool, so that aside, it's still a lot of fun, but I don't see the game like going ahead of like Hearthstone, for instance, not in its current state, because there's not enough of hype, there's not enough of cool new stuff. Now, I do think that it will be, moving forward, the best place to experience Magic when new sets are released, because honestly, for me, and I imagine for a lot of you, it's a lot more convenient, it's a lot more fun to just sit at your computer and open digital packs and play immediately against other people who did the same. So I think when new sets are released, this new game will actually get pumped up a lot, but not otherwise. Now, they do have a lot of directions. I think someone told me that they're working on an in-game draft mode, and that would actually be very exciting because the draft/arena version of card games has not been improved upon very much from Hearthstone's fairly basic version. And honestly, Magic the Gathering's draft system is different and awesome enough that I think it can take over. But we'll have to see, and we'll have to see how that is rolled out. But if in the Magic client they do decide to come up with like new game modes, I think we'll have a much more in-depth discussion about playing the game, and probably I will play it quite a bit more. Anyway, in terms of Magic the Gathering itself, in terms of the rule set, now I haven't played Magic much until the last 2 days, so I understand that some people who play Magic religiously might disagree with my statements here, but I am comparing the playing Magic the Gathering online in MTG Arena experience compared to other online digital card games, which it's what it's trying to compete with right now. The main problem that I think exists is in the mulligan stage. So a lot of people give crap to Magic the Gathering because the mana system is different. You don't just get a mana every turn. You could, but mana are cards in the game. There is a mana card. It's like an energy card. You have to play the card from your hand. You lose a card from your hand, and then your mana goes up by 1 every turn, and it's in the form of a land card. Now, there's a few ways to cheat mana, not too frequently, much like Hearthstone, honestly. And if you miss your mana drops, you can just get pretty wrecked by basically everyone. If you don't have mana, you lose. If you have only mana, you lose. And a lot of people say that this is the main issue with Magic the Gathering, but I don't think that's true. I think the main issue with Magic the Gathering, at least from my expertise when compared in the online space, has to do with the mulligan stage. In Magic the Gathering, you get a hand of 7 cards, and if you don't like your 7 cards, you can choose to mulligan. But mulligan in Magic the Gathering is not like mulligan in the digital card games that it's competing with. In the digital card games that it's competing with, you're shown a hand of cards, and if you don't like those cards, you replace them 1 at a time. Or in Hearthstone's case, 2, or maybe all of it if you want. In Magic the Gathering, if you want a mulligan, you scrap your entire hand and you draw 1 less. So if you don't like your hand of 7, you drop your whole hand and you draw 6. If you don't like your hand of 6, you scrap your hand and you draw 5. And basically, if you're at that stage, you're probably going to lose because you have a massive card disadvantage. Now, in Magic the Gathering, what my experience was not that I was mulliganing for specific cards. I was just mulliganing for a balanced hand. A hand that would have 2 to 4 lands and a few cards that didn't suck that I could play somewhat soon with the lands that I was given in my hand. That's it. That's all. I didn't actually care. There's not much strategic, like, searching for specific cards. I was just trying to start with a hand that didn't blow. And this didn't feel very good. Now, I understand the giant repercussions of changing the rules of Magic for it to work in an online game, so maybe it won't change. But I think this is actually a pretty big deal, because I think this is actually a pretty outdated rule, particularly by digital card game standards. I think if you could mulligan cards one at a time, as you do in Hearthstone or Gwent, or honestly every single digital card game, people wouldn't actually care to complain about the mana system. I don't think the mana system is wrong. It actually feels good. It felt great to play with lands that were mana because of the cool interactions that you can have and how you can, splash those in with different colors. I love the mana system in Magic. I just hate mulliganing only to get a decent mana base, right? So let me know what you think about that. And yeah, let me know your experiences with Magic the Gathering. I'm kind of curious. I don't know how many more videos I'll do for Magic the Gathering, but possibly on the next expansion launch, or if they have a new game mode update, I will cover the game once again. But for now, it's still very early and closed beta, so a lot of features are being worked on. I imagine there's a lot more stuff that we're going to see. And for now, I'm just going to give you guys a pretty fun little deck that I played. And there is another thing that I think I should mention here. In Magic the Gathering, the difference in card rarities dictates the power. So a rare card is always going to be more powerful than a common card, just about always. And that's fine when you're playing real-life Magic, because it's like, oh my god, I opened a high-rarity card. It feels good, and there's a value attached to all of this. But when you enter the digital space, these cards are all worthless unless you can... If you can convert them to real-life cards, that's different. But otherwise, these cards are all worthless in the digital space. So it kind of sucks for a new player, because a new player is not going to have a lot of these rare cards. So I think it's something they should consider. I think they should consider either changing the rarities just for the online version of the game, or letting players start with a lot of high rarity cards. Otherwise, the new player experience in the long term, not in the short term. Short term is fine, no one has anything right now. In the long term, it might be a problem for new players to get into the MTG Arena client. So something to watch out for. And yeah, enjoy the game. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh my god, this guy's the same rank I am. I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone within 2 ranks of me. That's pretty nice. This card sucks. Why does he have that? Oh, it's a desert? Oh! Alright. He cycled one. Interesting. Should I play the tracker? I feel like it's better if I surprise him later with the tracker. Pinging him for 1 damage right now doesn't do anything. Man, I'd really like to get rid of those. I think I need a draw. I'd really like to get rid of this. But I think I need a draw. Get rid of a Chupa. Get rid of 2 Chupas. Glyphkeeper is amazing in the mirror. Rip Chupas. That's fine. They both cost 7, so he's really far from doing that.
I have a tracker, but I'm a little scared to play it right now. Troop in the graveyard is fine. Just scared God that crap later. Went through. How about that? He's exiling the tracker. Nope. Drew a land. And those things are not in his hand. It's a bug. He's got one card in his hand right now. Peace. I like that. I kind of want to play that, but I have to cycle for it. Oh, and then I can't play it. Scratch that. Oh, I know, but they're supposed to be face up. The fact they were face down, I think, was a bug. I mean, I play against those cards all the time, so just let him do whatever he wants here. You wish the board was less slanted? Dude, that's a pretty recognizable slant there, if I don't say so myself. Why am I in combat? Oh no, I'm in main phase. Combat. Start the combat there. I think I just want to opt. I want to see if I can improve my turn in any way. No, that's not good. Alright, dude. How much do I have? I got 7. I'll opt later if I need to. The game's good. It's by far the best way to play Magic on the internet, which in my opinion is the better way to play Magic to begin with, or any card game. But yeah, it's still Magic. You know, they're trying to replicate an experience that a lot of people have already experienced, like me. So it's not like super hype, you know, but it's a solid game. It's fun. Magic absolutely has its own characteristics that the other card games don't have. No, dude, I want to play this. Just wait, I want to make sure it doesn't tap garbage here. Alright. How is this better than MTGO? Well, I haven't played MTGO in like 10 years, but the last time I played, my first game against a noob roped me in every single action in the first game, and we both had starter decks, and it took 40 minutes, and then I uninstalled it. I know a lot of professional Magic players are really frustrated with Magic Online, the previous client. I didn't get to that point myself, so I can't speak for that. But he's dead. Oh, I should have drawn and stuff before, huh? But he's just dead. Like, I just attack with everything and he has no hand next turn. I should have played Opt first, though. Because now I don't want to play it. I don't want to give him a card. Kind of my mistake. Alright, dude. Well, it's on you. This is the highest ranked player by like 2 ranks that I've ever played in this game. And I've played this for like 15 hours now. So he's probably just intentionally wasting my time because he knows I'm streaming. My name is not Crip in this game, but some people know. He's waiting for the GG. These are all nice emotes, dude. Haven't they learned anything? It's all about the BM emotes. That's where it's at. I don't want to do any of those. Rank me up! Rank me up! Keep going! Oh, look at that.